Sure. Listeners, Angela is holding severed fingers around her neck, and she is dressed as a anti-hero of my dreams.
Yes. Yes. They call me the severed cape.
That's
Watch out,
so
world.
cool.
Watch out, world.
But she
I'm
looks
here.
too cute to be like a monster.
Don't test me, Melanie. I've been through things.
That, you know what though, but that's the thing. That's why I decided to dress extra feminine, because I was like, that's kind of the thing as well. I don't want like beauty of women to be underestimated.
Ooh,
Like
yes.
feminine rage lying under it as well.
Oh. It's me, Melanie. It's just me.
Where did you get those severed fingers from? Glorious.
I've been working at night, Melanie.
Together we actually have severed cave.
Yeah. I was so like I was looking for severed body parts, but I was like, I'm not gonna go all out and just order a bunch of like PPs, but
Cops will rock up on your door.
yeah, like my search engine is just like severed PPs and fingers. Well, welcome everybody. We are here for a very, very special episode. Sorry to cut you off, but I wanted to get that out of there because I didn't want us to not think that this was, just some regular of the Publishing Persuasion episode. This is not a regular episode. This is a celebration episode. We are celebrating a very, very special author who happens to be a co-host for a podcast that you're currently listening to. It's Melanie Schubert, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here to celebrate the launch of the Castle of Horror Anthology, Volume 11. Topic is revenge. Yes. So Melanie, how the hell are you? How are you feeling? Well, we know you look good, but how do you feel knowing that your words are soon to be printed and distributed all across the globe?
Listen, I'm not going to even pretend it's not a roller coaster of emotion, but for the most part, I could not be prouder. Like, I, I definitely, I think like, I don't know why I didn't, I guess writing middle grade was my first like book that came out, and I didn't really, I don't know, I didn't think like that, how the reader's going to think about it. But I definitely like had a couple moments where I was like, will people get it? Like, are people gonna like understand the vision behind it? And like times when I felt like, is it too much? And then I was like, no, it's never enough.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that I have a line in the book that says that in the story that says that. And yeah, like I ultimately am so so proud. Like it's a weird roller coaster of feelings though, I think, doing writing in general. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I can see why you were a mixed bag of emotions before debut. Like
Yes.
it's frightening, it's exhilarating, it's like everything you've been working so hard and then it happens, but it's like because it's so slow paced, that peak of excitement that you might have felt if it was like, oh, I did this and this happened, it's different. Do you know what I mean? It goes in
Yeah.
these different waves than like, oh, I made a craft item and now I have a vase. Wow, instant gratification. It's not like that with writing. It's very much like, yeah, random. I'll have little quiet like moments of just like, yeah, you fucking did that. So that's been really
Good.
nice. Yeah.
I'm glad you have those moments because you should, because it's huge. And you did. Like you're part of this really cool anthology.
Yeah.
And like just hearing the two amazing guests that we interviewed, like you guys killed it. Not to like just be full of puns, but you guys killed it in many ways. I could just, it's full of talented authors. And I think that in it of itself is a celebration, is like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
part of this like legacy of really, really cool anthologies and stories. And But yeah, no, I totally get it because it's like you publishing is weird because you
Yeah.
almost like rush. You know,
Mm.
you're battling to write the words, and then we're editing the words, we send it in, and then we don't hear anything
Yeah.
for a while, and then something happens, and you're like, oh, this is cool, and then you don't hear anything again,
Mm.
and then all of a sudden it's like, here we are. Like
Yeah.
it felt very fast on my end
Yeah.
of just like waiting and knowing that there's a publishing date, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh, the cover's up,
Yeah.
and like, and then we get, and then watching you just kill it with your cap cuts and your promo. Yeah, I mean, how was it feeling? Like, did it feel like it was that like a waiting game, but then all of a sudden it's here?
So much so. Like I honestly, even once I got into this anthology, I just felt like I've been in this weird, syrupy no man's land for a while. And like, I think even getting in, and then again, it's like lots of silence, lots of waiting. So you kind of forget about it. You kind of like,
Yeah.
it's honestly no joke that it still feels very surreal to me that anything is happening because it's like been a long time just banging my head against the wall, listeners, you know? And yeah, so like that, I think that's the feeling I'm experiencing. It's actually, I think until I actually have that physical book in my hands, you know, and I'm like trying to do lots of things to like trick my brain into like, no, come on, we're excited, like, and we are. But I think until it's actually in my hands, I don't 100% believe it that it's like
Mm.
gonna
Hmm.
be printed in a thing. So that's been weird, but but no, like it's also I say that, but there's also this little flickering thing inside me of like, no, but there is something. Because it is different, even though I say that you feel like you're in this syrupy nowhere. But I will say, I just can't recommend enough trying to get into these anthologies and these
Yes.
competitions and stuff because number one, it's a small piece of writing. Like I think my story is like maybe 4 pages or something. That might be wrong, but it's short. And so it's a small body of work that you can quite quickly produce. Like a whole book can sometimes be a feat if you're in no man's land.
Mm.
And that's where I really agree with Katya. Like for me, it was a bit of a lifeline that kind of kept me feeling sane whilst I was in the query trenches. Because it's like, well,
Yes.
something's happening here, you know? And it's like the girls said, their stories got rejected other places. It's just like proof that like you just kind of sometimes at a point you need to find the right spaces for your stories. And yeah, I feel like entering some of these competitions really provides like just like a pressure valve of like and creativity like horror I've been dabbling a bit but definitely like what I wound up writing for this anthology I can't imagine that I'll write anything darker than this in my life, you know.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not
don't know
gonna
where else you can go, but
right.
I would not doubt you. I mean, I think you could go there. I don't know how you do it, but I think you could get there for sure.
Do you?
Yes, I do. And honestly, like Claire was saying, like this is kind of a really great genre for you. It's not like this super scary
Mm,
whatever. It's like it's it's like grotesque, but kind of funny,
yeah.
but terrible, but also quirky. Like it's all of these like things that not like make up you, not
Mhm.
grotesque or anything.
No, no,
Not the
I'm wearing
grotesque part,
penis
but
earrings. Just call it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, good, good. Thank you. I'm glad you agree. But yeah, it's like all of the things, right?
Mm,
Because we are all of those things, and I think you
yeah.
can harness it and turn it into something fun and dark and gets you thinking.
Mhm.
But and I also, not to spoil obviously the interview to come, but Katya did mention like that doing this anthology, not this one in particular, but starting to do anthologies really was kind of a lifeline. Like, was this, this light? Because truly, like querying is really hard,
Mm,
and beyond submission and all those things. So having these other avenues and
yeah.
options, I think are it's great.
Yeah,
So
and
it's like,
even
why not?
post agent, like for her, that's the thing. Like to me, she was always a shining light. I was quite surprised when we were like first meeting up that she was also going through this like difficult in between books. She'd had a couple books come out. And that's the thing, like I can't like say enough how like it's just a good thing to be doing, to exercise your craft, to try other genres. Like, yeah, it
Yeah.
has wound up being not just my darkest piece that I've written, but my proudest, because I feel like it's captured some kind of like divine feminine rage that was boiling in me for years. And yeah, in that way, I think if capturing that in an actual piece of writing,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Oh, you captured it, baby. You captured it. Did you find like doing a, short work of fiction, a short story versus like a full-on manuscript, like did you find it sometimes harder to write a short story, or was it just a lot easier because your brain was like, nope, we got this?
Yeah, I'm gonna say the thing people are gonna hate, like the short pieces of writing, even like query letters and synopses and anthology, they come easily to me. Like I can draft it very quickly. And I know that the reason I say some people hate that, it's like it's the same with picture books. People are like, but it like like it's not easy, it takes a long time, which is true, to hone it, to polish it. But because of the way my brain works, I really hyperfixate. So for me
Mm.
personally, if I can complete a body of work when I'm in that hyperfixated space, I find my work is the most cohesive, it's the clearest, and then after I do the polishing. But with the book, it's actually why I struggle sometimes to finish a draft without like the pressure of a draft race, because once I
Yeah.
lose that hyper focused space I was in, I'm just like, oh shit, we're in the maze again, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it makes total sense. And for
Mm.
the record, you are the query queen. Like you
Ah,
bust out some bomb queries. Can you can you tell us a little bit about this short story?
yes.
Like, what can you reveal?
I can
What?
reveal whatever you want. So
Good.
yeah, like the short version is it's my gory feminine rage story about a mother who develops Wonder Woman-esque powers and uses them to become a caped crusader anti-hero. Let's say anti-hero specifically, who targets predators. So so yeah, like I mean, it's really dark. And I mean, maybe I should put trigger warnings on this episode because, yeah, realistically, it's dealing with a really dark, fucked up
Yeah.
theme, right?
Yeah.
And this is the thing though, anytime I've doubted writing this story or putting it out into the world, like sometimes I wish like that I didn't have the inspiration for this story. Not because I
Mm.
regret writing it, because I regret that we live in a world where this story needs to exist, and
Yes. Yeah.
And from that side of things, yeah, I don't know what my point was, but yes, it's gory and dark because
Yeah.
it is when I was given the theme of revenge, and I was in a funk myself, and I was just kind of like not sure where to go with my writing next. And I had done a few genres, queried a few, like all the things. So I was like, I'll give this a go. And I really just sat with that theme of revenge, like what makes my blood boil. And I happened to be watching some of those cult docos at the
Oh yeah.
time. Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. I think I'd just watched that. And it just reminded me of all the terrible things I'd heard and just kind of put it into a point of rage. And once I kind of sat with that, this story actually flowed like that big magic way. It just like kind of flowed through me and just, I think I drafted it in one sitting. Like it just
Wow.
poured out of me once I let myself sit with that rage, which is so necessary when it comes to
Yeah.
these themes.
Oh, and but so hard also,
Yeah.
of just like you said, it's shitty because it's something we live in this
Yeah.
world. What do you feel like was the hardest part in writing this story in particular? Do you think it was the dark themes, or
Yeah. Definitely like definitely letting myself sit with that rage.
hmm,
It was both healing and hard because it's like kind of Katya was saying, like there's this mess of soup in my brain about the injustices of the world and like when people who are more powerful abuse that in whatever way that
Mm.
manifests. And the injustice of it scratches against my bones. Like, I know, like, it's so opposite to what people see of me in terms of being like a happy, laughing cloaca friend.
Right.
But like, yeah,
Yeah.
we are multi-layered people. And like, yeah, this is, I think, being quite neurospicy as well, the sense of injustice for me, it just, it's always burned in my bones. And
Mm.
so, yeah, I think sitting with that and like thinking about it was hard, remembering all the things I had heard that made me think of a concept this dark, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, 100%. It's something I think about a lot of times is like
Yeah.
you do see people who are so bright and bubbly. And
Mm,
sometimes I feel like the people that shine the brightest have been through the darkest things, if
mm,
that makes sense.
yeah.
And, so, but being able to sit in that and reflect and then write something, um, I honestly feel like is a beautiful thing because I feel like we go to story because we want to experience things and watch these characters do these things or learn some lesson without us having to do it ourselves, if that makes sense. We're
Mm.
like we're
Yeah.
playing these images in our head and being able to live through it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was feeling like chopping some things off as I was
Yeah.
reading the Severed Cape.
Yeah.
What was like something that was fun about this? What was the most fun or surprising thing about this? It could be the experience or the short story.
Mm.
What was fun or surprising? You can give us both.
I think it was fun to like unpack that Pandora's box of like how dark can you write, and like to give myself the freedom to say things that sometimes I think women in general especially have been like kind of encouraged to be silent about. So it
Mm,
felt like quite, that's one, yeah, it's so weird because it did make me feel powerful writing it. It did make me feel this sense of justice writing it. Am I under any delusions it's going to eradicate the injustices of the world? No.
yeah.
But every time I hear another story that makes me want to scream, I remember I wrote this and it gives me a sense of calm. I don't,
Mm,
does that kind of
yeah.
make sense? It's like,
Yeah.
I know it's just a story, but sometimes stories can be powerful too. And yeah, like I'm jumping ahead now, but to be honest, like that's kind of what I hope readers would get from it, like a sense of justice that sometimes is not given.
Yeah. Ooh,
Like,
that's good.
there's,
That's good.
and I
Yeah.
hope the wrong reader, if they ever are unfortunate enough to come across these words, I hope it will haunt them till their last breath.
Yes, please.
That's like my
She got
she
scary.
did not come to play. But that's honestly like when I actually think most people can read this story in spite of it being quite dark and ominous. But I only think it's gonna haunt one type of reader. I would like to
Yeah,
think that most other people will feel a sense of like, yeah, justice being served for
I love
things
that.
that it's often not.
I love that. I love that. I can't remember if it was Nicola Yoon or what author was saying like they love I think it was Nicola Yoon because it surprised me, but she was saying like she loves when the villain like meets just a terrible death. Because she's so bubbly. So I was like, what? It
Yeah.
surprised me, but she was like, it gives us the justice that so often we don't really get in the real world. And so like to see them just like be torn apart
Yeah.
or building fall on whatever it is in the books that we write, it gives us that sense of justice, just like you said. I'm here for it.
100%. Oh, I got a little chill. Yeah.
Love it.
100% back that what Nicola said.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was her, or maybe I'll just take the credit. I'll just pretend I said
You
it.
pretend you said.
Yeah, I'll just say I said it. Was there anything that like surprised you about either again, the book at large, or the journey, or the story?
I don't know.
She's so
You
seasoned.
know,
She
this
doesn't
is like
surprise.
going from like something really deep and dark to just not dark. What has actually surprised me recently is how much fun I'm having making reels.
Yeah, oh yes, yes,
Because
yes.
I was really hating it. And then I found CapCut. Now, listener, if you haven't heard of CapCut, I've just handed you a gift if you hate making reels. Because, like, seriously, I was hating it so much. And my husband uses it for his Truckstagram. He's become like a famous Truckstagrammer. He literally had the Outback Truckers, like, producers reach out to him and be like, do you want to come on Outback Truckers and be one of our, like,
Is he
people?
gonna do it?
Well, he would, but he had to like remind them like, oh, my account does okay, but I'm actually a local driver, not an Outback trucker. So he
Oh,
let them down. He had to let
well,
them
they
down.
hire him. Have him just be hired for the season.
That's what
You
I
know?
said. I feel like he'll get headhunted again because there's not
Yeah.
many men like him who do it like just for the sheer love of it. And like honestly, he's got quite a following on Truckstagram.
How
Every now and
fun.
then I'm like, can you post my book promo stuff just to give it a boost in Truckstagram? And I kid you not, some of his people follow me and they're some of my most loyal likers. Shout out to
Amazing.
Deb Uren, who I do not even know. It's a private account, but without fail, Deb Uren likes my posts, like
Shout
boosts my
out.
stuff.
Shout out to Deb.
Right. But anyway,
Yeah.
he's been using CapCut to make his trucking reels. And I didn't realize it was like, yeah, try that. And like once I found it and just like the templates make it so easy and so fun. So it's
Yeah.
honestly surprised me that I'm having fun making reels and promoting the book. I couldn't have expected that.
Oh, see, well, you're a promo queen, so it makes sense. But I do, yeah, I CapCut is a winner. It's a
Yeah,
fun one.
it
I
is
like this
fun.
practical advice you're giving.
You said it's a fun one, like there's more. Are there more? Is that the secret
Oh no,
behind
it's the only thing I know.
it? Yeah, so that wasn't like particularly deep and meaningful, but it's true. Like
She's having fun in
just having
CapCut.
fun making CapCut reels.
I love that. I love that. You are, because you're killing it with some of they're
Yeah,
really, really funny. You're so
thank
so
you.
creative. So creative. Well, okay, I want to get into what is your favorite scene or part of your short story
Mm,
and why? Do you have a line or two or three or the
yeah.
whole thing that you'd like to share with us?
Well, I was tempted to read the whole thing, but no, I'll make people buy it. Please,
Good.
please buy it.
Here, see, she is a marketing
And I
genius.
will
She's
read the
gonna
full
tease you.
pitch.
Okay, cool.
I'll tease you. I'll read the full pitch and then I'll read a few paragraphs. So the full pitch that got me into the anthology. So in case you missed it somehow, my story is Severed Cape. And yeah, like trigger warnings, the themes are dark. So the shocking crime and loss of her teenage daughter triggers a mother's rage and pain into changing her physiology. She develops Wonder Woman-esque powers that she uses to become a caped crusader who targets predators, ripping off their fingers and genitals so they can never hurt another innocent again, and knitting their severed appendages into the grotesque cape that strikes dread into the hearts of all her deserving victims. As she hunts for the evil man responsible for the death of her child, she claims more and more victims, each act claiming a piece of her soul and diminishing a part of her humanity. But it's a price she's chosen to pay, becoming a being of evil herself to act out her rage and claim her revenge.
Damn. Dang. Yeah. Do you have a favorite scene or line?
Actually, the first bit I'm going to read, Phil, my husband, reminded me because I was like, oh, which part do I read? So I want to read the part he thought of because I was like, wow, like I didn't expect that to stick in his mind, but I really loved the part he picked. So
Ooh.
this is a scene from one part. She squeezes my hand, eyes wide, as she takes in the twisted cape that flows out behind me. She pauses, and for a second I wonder if it's too much, if my methods are too harsh. Then I see her aura lighten, and I remember it's never enough, which is
Ooh,
kind of
that's
what we were
good.
talking about before. And I think for my favorite part, I might get emotional reading it. The end always gets me. I feel emotional just thinking about it, so I'll read that part.
Good. Good.
Is it spoilers if I read the end? Nah.
No, no, no.
For our listeners, it's not like we have thousands yet.
Yes.
We will have. What do you think? Would you read the end or nah?
Is it like the last line, or like is it gonna give is it gonna give away everything?
Mm,
Nah, just read
nah,
it.
I'm gonna read. It doesn't
Yeah.
really, because it's a story that progresses through kind of different scenes. I think reading this one scene won't spoil much.
Yeah, yeah.
So, night turns to day and my phone rings at 8. We got him, says the voice on the other end. But my heart stills in knowing, but my brain is taking longer to register the words. Apparently, even hardened criminals think men like this must pay a heftier price. Several days later, I stand in the cemetery. A cop with a kind heart gave me details when I told him I needed to see this. Even in death, there is a befoulment on the air around this freshly dug gravesite. It is done. I'm quenched but empty, and changing, always changing. I could stop it now, perhaps, my goal met. The villain in my personal narrative dealt a fitting end by karma. But there are other daughters and sons who need me. Ah, sorry, I'm getting emotional. I told you the end always gets me. I will claim my revenge on the others. I will strike fear into their hearts until they never dare strike again. Sorry. Because I just think of the people I wrote it for.
Hmm.
I will be justice. I will be terror. I will haunt the dark corridors and spaces behind closed doors. I leave my severed cape behind in the cemetery along with the final fragments of my humanity as I breathe and stretch into my full form and fly back out into the world. I feel the auras of pain and darkness waiting on the wind. I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. Two different
Beautiful.
I'm coming for yous. One is I'm coming to rescue you, and one is I'm coming to get you.
Mm.
Woo! She I did it.
She did. She did it. That's beautiful. Like hauntingly beautiful and terrifying for
Thank you,
whoever's
love.
reading, right? Whoever's interpreting the words.
Yes, that's it. And it makes me happy to know that, yeah. I know Devona said that that was her favorite thing about Devona was actually one of my early readers, and she was like cheering from this story from the start. And she was like, that's one of her favorite things, that it will only haunt one type of person.
Ooh, that's good. That's yeah. That's
I
it.
didn't
That's
expect
deep.
it to make me cry again, but I was like, that's why you've got to read that part, because that's the
Yes.
part that's
No, I'm so glad you did, honestly. Well, and it just shows the power of your words. Like it it's a short story, but it's a powerful story, and you can still feel it in when you're reading it, and in the tears. And so, but it's funny because I'm like looking at you and you have your penis, your penis earring. Um,
Yes.
but it feels so right because there's such a deep heart in this story, but there is like this sort of
Comic.
like comic
Yeah.
relief about it as well. And and that's what Claire, who we interviewed and coming up,
Yeah.
mentioned, was just like sometimes in the horror genre, like having that bit of comedy
Yeah.
is that breath that we need in these dark stories. And that's just in life too.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
I'm
So,
so
like
glad
as
you
you're
feel
crying,
that from it.
I
Because
do.
I did, I definitely like, I think a certain type of person just won't be able to read it and appreciate that about it. But I definitely wasn't like seriously like, oh, and she rips their dicks off. Like, yeah, there was a certain lightheartedness when I chose that part of it, that she rips their dicks off and knits it into a cape. How can you not laugh about that?
Right,
You
right,
know?
right.
And
Yeah.
even just like, yeah, like if you read the start, the tone of the start is not as dark as the tone of the end, because I kind of was like, honestly, when I started writing it, I had kind of a Deadpool vibe in my head, like a kind of
Mm.
Deadpool, like it's people are getting slashed, but hey, let's, there's like a weird humor to it too. But yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
life in general. It's like it can be heavy and dark and like ominous, but you can also laugh at, you know, some dicks being ripped.
Yeah, I think we can all we can all stick come together and celebrate in this moment.
Yeah, and I know some people might feel like it's just like a complete hate against the patriarchy, but like, you know, even reading it to like my husband and whatever, he fucking loves it. Like, good
Right.
men want this story too. Good men are as outraged as everyone else about these atrocities. And I think, yeah, so hopefully people get that about it.
Heck yes. And it is up available for pre-order right now. It's coming out May 7th.
Yes. Thank you for remembering the things.
Yeah. Well, this is my duty today is to remember the things, and that is that this anthology comes out on May 7th.
Yes, it
We're
does.
so excited. Yeah.
Thank
I
you for
mean,
pre-ordering.
yeah, have you pre-ordered your copies? Like, how does it work for you? Are you,
Yeah, I
because
want
are they being
to.
printed in the States or like
I
what's the
think with
situation there?
it, I'm just guessing. I know when I had my indie book published, there was something called Ingram Spark, and it printed it wherever the kind of hub was. So I don't know if they do that or if it's like I know it's available a lot of places already. So it's available on Kindle everywhere, obviously, but the paperback, I think it's still well, you bought it today on
I did.
Amazon.
I did.
I don't know. Amazon isn't showing me that link for
Ah, okay.
America.
Yeah.
But
Oh, so yeah, in the States, I already pre-ordered my bad boy.
yeah,
I did. I did. I
so
really
I'm
did.
debating because I also know like Amazon, especially with indie presses, I think it's good if you order. I know even though people hate Amazon,
I
but because
know.
of the ranking thing, I think it's actually, is that right? Like, because it helps your ranking if you order from Amazon. I was gonna wait till
Yeah.
Amazon links are up. But then Angus and Robinson, which is an Aussie one. I don't think you guys have Angus and Robinson.
I don't think
They have
so.
it on sale. They have it on sale, listeners. And then I
Oh,
found
they
a voucher for
do.
free delivery. So it's like, maybe I'll just order from there.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. So is
Yeah.
it like a bookstore that you like a Barnes and Noble, or is it
It
like,
used to be everywhere, but the physical shops for Angus and Robinson sadly mostly shut down. Dimmicks
I
is still
hate
going
that.
strong.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, she's on
Have
a
you checked on
budget.
there?
Yeah, I don't think they have it in store. I
Okay.
think for now it's just going to be, well, it's not out till the 7th.
Right. Well, no, I mean, but is it on the is it Dimmicks, you said?
Dimmicks. I
Is it
think
on their
they've got it.
website?
I think so. But it's cheaper on Angus and Robinson right now.
Okay.
Listen, she's on a budget, so she's like just looking. That's what I was saying to you. Like, again, I know it's so like everybody hated Book Depository, but like I was getting a lot of my American friends' books from there for a like affordable price. And sometimes you
Now, not so
gotta,
much.
yeah, I know.
I
Now it can
hate
be
that.
quite exy. But I know these big evil corporations, they probably need to go down. But
I know. I know.
it's
I know.
hard.
Yes. Eat the rich, as Katya would
Yeah.
say. As
Yes.
Katya would say. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I will
Oh my
read a
gosh.
little bit of I didn't actually get Katya's bio or Claire's. I didn't even like
Nah, don't stress
uh
about it. There's
okay.
honestly, there's three of us. So I think if we read the bios, it'll take up too
Be
much
a
time
lot.
today.
Yeah. Well, listeners, go and I mean, you guys already know Katya de Becerra. She's been on this is so I think she is right now, she is the in the lead for most
Most
episodes,
appearances.
most appearances, Katya. Jessica Parr will be coming in hot. So we're gonna have they're gonna be in our 3 appearance club.
Is Parrot
Um
third? Is this her third one?
this will I yeah, because we had her at the very beginning.
Yeah.
She was our first guest.
I think she was our first guest, but I don't remember oh, and then we had her for Ruby.
Yeah.
Of
And now we're having
course.
for the Quince. So
But
she's the big 3. She's gonna be in the 3-member club. We'll get her a jacket.
we should
Um
T-shirts for
everybody,
everyone.
yeah, jackets for everyone. So everybody knows Katya. And then Claire Lowe is an absolute stud. I can't wait
Yeah.
to like read more from her because she I can tell just from the little bit she read, and listeners, you will understand. Fire. Friggin'
Yeah.
fire. The
Actually,
future.
in the
Like,
giveaway that we did a while back for This Fresh Hell, I think we did a giveaway a while back. I went to that launch of Katya's.
yeah.
I think her
Ah,
story, that's the
yes.
one she mentioned, her other stories and that. I think Devona won
Uh-huh.
that, speaking of Devona.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, amazing. And then obviously we already know Melanie Schubert is a star, and you know, so listeners, we already know who these stud muffins are that we had on. Okay,
What?
but I will read a little bit of the other authors. In the bio, like on the Goodreads and whatever, it just says the Castle of Horror Anthology, Volume 11, Revenge. This is the anthology we are speaking of, featuring stories of pulse-pounding, blood-curdling revenge from. Now, here are the authors. Okay, I apologize in advance. I'm I apologize, but I'm
You
gonna
can
I'm
do
gonna do
it.
I can do it. Okay, featuring stories of pulse-pounding, blood-curdling revenge from Leanna Rie. I already messed up. Leanna Renee Heber, Claire Lowe, Dottie Enderly, Jeremiah Dylan Cook, Will McDermott, Sarah Martinez, Scott Pearson, Rob Nisbet, Serena Jane, Katya de Becerra, Carmen Gray, Michael Joseph Tharnish Robbie, Charles A. Rutledge, Melanie motherfucking Schubert, Keith W. Shelby, Brian Young, Althea Contis, and Liz Holiday. These are just a few authors that are in this amazing anthology, Castle of Horror,
Yeah.
Volume 11, Revenge.
Mm.
Melanie Schubert, congratulations. You are about to have a whole ass book in your hand, and your name is right there on the front cover, baby.
It is in a very nice position, I might add.
It is, honestly.
And shout out to our publisher, Jason Henderson, and editor In Cholyo, because we're
Nice.
working hard behind the scenes, like honestly. And honestly, such a pleasure to work with those two. Like they're just really sweet. Really nice people. I feel like maybe it's a thing. Maybe we write these dark stories, but like then we can get on with our lives and be nice people because we got it out. We milked it out of our system.
The visual. I did that visual. But
I'm
yes.
sorry. I'm sorry for saying milked it out right now. There's no redeeming myself from that moment. So I'm going to just let you close the show.
Oh no, Melanie.
I mean, I look a bit
You
milkmaidy with this bosomy top.
you do. And so when you said it, my eyes immediately went down there.
Sorry for jiggling my bosom. I had really small breasts as a young person. They're still a novelty now that they're bigger, so let me enjoy them.
Jiggle them, baby.
It's that
Great.
part out.
No, oh no. Oh no. In her milk maiden outfit with her PP earrings. Yes, Melanie is ready. Oh yeah. Oh.
Listen, it came in the mail and I just decided to throw it on, just something I had earlier.
I mean, hello.
If my boobs pop out, let me know.
No, I'm not going to say anything.
Gotta get those plays.
Yeah. Gotta get them up, baby. Oh my God, you look
You.
amazing.
Thank you. Literally, I was like sending you that voice note and there was a knock at the door and the guy was like delivering this parcel. I was like, you know what? That's a sign to just dress up, feel the moment, and go with it.
Yes, you look freaking hot. You look stunning. Amazing. I'm so glad that you're feeling it.
Well, I wasn't, and dressing up helps.
It honestly though, I mean, dressing up really does make a difference.
No, I felt like weird last week not recording. I was like, where's
Yeah,
my cloaca queen?
I know. I was missing out on I honestly I felt it. I was like, wait, what is wrong? Like, what am I missing this week? And
Yeah.
that's what it was. That's what it
Okay, I'm
was.
recording. So
Okay.
we have to check every time now. Ever since they've moved it, I swear I'm this close to forgetting one day. We have to remember.
Gosh. Yeah.
I
Okay,
know.
well, we're ready whenever you are. Are you
I'm ready.
excited?
Yes, I am now. I've had my
Yay.
coffee. I've dressed up. I feel good.
You look good. You feel good. You look good. All the goods. All of it.
Hello.
Hi.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is so fun to host the celebration of this super, super terrifying, revengeful anthology. I'm so excited.
Thank you for having us. I'm so excited to be back, and I'm so excited to do this with Claire as well.
Yeah.
So, and Melanie and yourself, Angela. It's always good to see your lovely face.
Yeah, good to see you. And nice to meet you, Claire. This is so fun to have. I'm assuming you guys are all over on the other side of the pond. You guys are all in Australia?
We're really far away. We're in the sort of butt end of the world. We're down there.
You're way down, way
The
down.
butt
Okay,
end.
perfect.
Yes, thank you for having me. Long time listener, first time caller. Really excited to be here with all of you.
Oh, amazing. Oh, well, that makes it even more fun. Okay, well, we are excited. I'm gonna take over because Melanie is also in the anthology, so we can't just have her playing just host today. She is writer. She is on the author side of things. She is on the hot end of things. So so welcome everybody to the show. I was gonna like do where I was gonna read like the description along with everybody's first and last names. I'll do that probably when we pre-record everything else later, because it'll take me a while to get through the names and try my best to say everybody's name correctly. And
I'm gonna make you read them all on your own after. I'm just gonna be such a diva when we do our intro. Be like, yes, you read all 3 bios. Thank you.
Good, perfect. I'm ready for this. I was born for this. Well, let's get right into it, because honestly, it's so fun to watch Melanie boosting this anthology and to see the cover go live and all the things. But yeah, I want to get right into the questions, because it will take us a while to probably get through them, because I want to hear from each and every one of you. So first question is, tell us about yourself and what your short story is about. I'm going to go ahead and start with Katya on this one.
All right, thank you.
I knew you were ready. I saw it in your eyes. I could see it. I was like, Katya's it.
I'm always ready. I wake up and I'm ready to go.
You are, and I love it.
I'm kidding, of course. It takes me a while to get going, but anyway. Well, thank you for having me again. I believe this is my third time on this wonderful podcast. I love this. I listen to it all the time. I laugh a lot when I'm on my own and I'm just listening, and I just start laughing. Because you guys are so good.
I love that.
You're so good. Well, about myself, I'm an author from Melbourne, Australia, originally born in Russia. I immigrated to Australia a long time ago. I live in Melbourne now. It's my hometown, and I write horror, primarily YA horror thrillers. So my latest book is When Ghost Calls Home. Of course, I have to point the US cover to the screen. I have a new one coming up. I'll talk about it later in a different context. But yeah, so basically this is what I do. Occasionally I get invited to contribute to anthologies. And I do have to say I love short stories. They kind of reinvigorated my career, because I was in between book contracts and, future seemed bleak for a time. And I was invited to my first anthology, and it really changed my life, and I don't say this lightly. Now I had to look it up, but this anthology that we're launching today is actually my 9th anthology.
Wow.
And I have 10 in total, so I have another one coming later in the year that I still haven't like even really talked about. So Love Anthologies about my story. So as your listeners might know, this is a serial anthology done by a publisher, small publisher, but wonderful indie publisher called Castle of Horror, or Castle Bridge Media, I believe is the name of the publisher. So they do this anthology once or twice a year. They have a theme, they invite a bunch of people. And I was invited because somebody forwarded the invitation to me years ago. So that's how I got into my first one. So this was back in the day. It was called Femme Fatale. This was the
I
first one I was.
remember that cover. That's hot.
Right, remember? So you can do these cool things with the cover. This was my first anthology. So it was all about femme fatales and reimagining femme fatales in fiction and in different ways. Then I did thinly veiled the 80s. So it's like
cool.
the 80s horror. Yeah, I did American Werewolf in London because you had to pick something. And the latest one was the thinly veiled Saturday mornings.
Yes.
And I did Teletubbies for this one.
I love that.
I know, you have to. They have the funnest themes for their anthologies. They do a lot of pop culture spin-offs, and you're not supposed to say what it is, for whatever copyright. So we don't mention the names in the story, but it's like pretty obvious what it is. But my latest story, so Revenge.
Yeah.
Immediately my mind went to dark places,
Sure.
as you do.
Yeah.
And of course, we all live in the times of the rightful, feminist rage and all. I'm sure all the stories that in this anthology are going to have some similarities. I think I have a feeling. But my story is called "To Die Like a Pharaoh," and it's kind of like my take on Eat the Rich.
Yes.
It's about it's about basically about it's not about him, but it's the villain of the story is this billionaire, whatever, rich person who has power, and he is dying, and he wants to take all his earthly possessions with him into the afterworld, and that includes people. So we find ourselves in the beginning, all his mistresses and wives and ex-wives and all the people who work for him is like, you all got to die because you're gonna serve me in the afterlife too because I own you. So we open with some of them, the latest additions to his tomb, and he built himself a tomb, of course, as as a aspiring pharaoh does. And we have these 3 women who wake up and they've been put there, drugged there. They're one of the latest additions to await him when he dies and joins them, and they have to find their way out. And they're supposed to hate each other because they're all very different. They're for different reasons, and they have to find a way to talk to each other and find a way out. And ghosts of those who have been put there before them will help them along the way.
Well,
Which
damn.
I read it, and it sounds like fantasy, but this is like based on real life, right? Like, didn't the pharaohs actually take like their wives and families and bury them alive with them? Like, if that's not the patriarchy trying to hold us down, I don't know what is. I loved it. I've read both your stories, and damn, there was no playing around here. There was no playing around.
Feeling the revenge. I can feel it simmering from over here. I am here for this. It sounds fabulous. I can't wait to read it. I pre-ordered my copy today, so I am ready. Claire, how about you? Like, tell us a little bit about yourself and what your short story is.
Thanks, Angela. Oh, Katya's got my brain going on some wild tangents. I'm just thinking about a time when I saw this possessed Teletubby in an art show. It was the funniest thing. They are the most haunted, scary creatures. So got to pick up a copy of Thinly Veiled Sunday Mornings. My name is Claire Low. I am an artist and writer from Sydney, Australia. I am Chinese, Thai, Australian, and I love horror. I really do. previously having been published in This Fresh Hell with Katya. Katya has her props in order because I wanted to be like, but I probably behind Katya.
She's
Which
ready.
was really fun. Just discovering that I was always meant to be like a scary weirdo who publishes weird and scary things. And I'm really very proud to say that my story in This Fresh Hell is up for an Australasian Shadows Award in long fiction, which is thrilling. My God, like I wanted to cry
Oh my
because
God,
in my category, there's people who are
congratulations.
rock stars. Like one of them has over 30 books to her name, and I was like, yeah.
Wow.
There's you and here's me. But you got to start somewhere, and I really am I'm a baby in all of this. I've never been on a pod before, so this is so exciting. And
Oh.
yeah, couldn't be more thrilled about the whole state of affairs. I got into this particular anthology through Katya. As you can see, as you all know, a lot of magic happens through Katya. She's like a
Yes.
conduit of magic, and she conducts it through her.
Yes.
Which is wonderful. And my story, I Hope the Night is Quiet, is about a small Australian town in which absolutely everything depends on pork production. And when a desperately severe drought sets in, a boy, the son of a butcher, begins to notice strange things. So the revenge angle maybe isn't very obvious on the face of it, but I can't wait for you guys to, if you haven't already read it, discover what I'm on about.
Oh my gosh.
She went dark and I lived for it. I lived for it. It was so
I
cool.
love
You weren't
the
really dark.
title.
You weren't quite gruesome, I believe. Quite kind of like visceral gore, which is great because like female rage, I'm sure you've seen by now the man and the bear debate on TikTok, and it's just like we're full of rage. We're brimming with rage.
Yes. I just got chills.
We need these stories. That's the thing. And I think like when women are the ones telling them, then it's very powerful. And yeah, I love both of your stories, and I really want to second that about Katya. I just want a Katya fangirl moment because yes, you hiding away there. She really is magic. Like, and like I honestly think of you as my Aussie mama duck in publishing because yeah, like you've definitely been somebody who in times when I think I met you kind of in between things when you were doing a lot of anthologies, and you were nothing short of an inspiration to me, and everything that's coming your way is so hard worked for. There's people I can count on my hands that I know that work that hard, and most of them are on this screen, you know. And it's just
in the room, yeah.
You really work that hard, but you also share that magic. You share that abundant spirit. And I wouldn't have even, like, horror isn't my original area. I wouldn't have even thought to write horror if I hadn't have had some encouragement from you and cheering me on when I was also like, shit, like, what do I even do? And so I just want to shout you out because people like you are so, so precious in an industry that's full of no, that's full of like uncertainty. And I think when you have that, if you're gonna like keep trying, it takes a special kind of person to keep trying. It takes a special kind of person to like live through all that suffering and still shine their light on everyone. So I really want to just say you're an angel and we love you.
You're making me blush and like tears coming out. I just put on makeup, but thank you so much, Mel. I mean, I just, it makes me happy to see others thrive. And people have been kind to me. So I think like, you try to repeat that consciously or subconsciously. And like we've met with you, Melanie, when I was in between book contracts, and we started talking, and I kind of learned your story. You had a book published and it did super well, and they gave you a medal. And that's didn't they give you like an actual medal that you won?
Listen, there's a medal somewhere. He was a finalist.
Somewhere.
Let's not quote. We were in the finalist category, but yeah, there was still a medal that got mailed to me, and I love it.
Where is it? Where's the medal?
Yeah, show us the medal.
Oh my God. Okay. Keep talking.
while you look for the medal, while you
good.
look for the medal, I'll just say how to me it makes me like it gives me something back when I just find the right connections and connect the right people. Like, it just makes me happy because people have done this for me.
Yeah.
And like I know, it's like about kind of like you have a little bit of, well, let's call it power, right? And some people like to hoard it in and build a wall around themselves and put themselves up and higher and higher and higher and distance themselves from the world. But I really like, I know like the allure of that. Like, I understand it. It feels good when you're doing well. But it takes like, it's hard, but it makes you better. I think it really makes you better, and like your energy oh my god, what I said, like it gives you better energy in the world to kind of like give that power away and or redistribute it to others so others can have it, like.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, and when somebody forwarded an invitation for me to do my first anthology years ago, and I'm very grateful. She didn't have to do that, and she's like, I thought of you. I think that you'd be good for this. And I felt the same way. Sometimes things come into my inbox and it says, please feel to share in your networks. And I immediately thought of Melanie and Claire, because I know Claire's writing incredible writing from This Fresh Hell, one of the top stories. Shadows nomination is just one of the things that's going to happen for that story. And for you, Claire, I think it's going to go far. That story will see.
Oh my gosh, thank
and I
you.
need to
Let's not forget that Katya is sitting here with a shadows nod herself for When Ghosts Call Home, and no less than 2 Australasian noms as well for, I believe, YA and also for novel. So really phenomenal writer in our midst.
Yeah. See, I am honored to be amongst you because we've got award nominees, winners, and Melanie has an actual
medal.
I love that. That's cool. Yeah.
It's next generation indie book finalist award, friends. Yeah.
What I mean,
that's cool.
Yes. Cool. Wear that across your chest.
No,
it's amazing. That is, I love this. I just really, really love like listening to you guys kind of brag about each other and all the things that you're doing and having and building this community. It's so special, and I just love like hearing you guys give each other props and praise. It's so beautiful. Melanie, did you want to talk about your book in this section?
Let's do mine in the intro, because we'll get Patty. We'll just focus on the girls this one, and we'll do me in the intro.
Okay, sounds good. We'll get to Melanie when we get to her.
Yeah,
I mean, she's got a big old silver medal. We don't have to even. Yeah, in fact, we don't have to talk to her at all.
No.
It's too bright. It's too shiny. We can't even look at it. Okay, well, let's move on to the second question, which is, what was the most challenging part in writing your short story? Claire, I want to hear from you because, again, what was the title? Because the title really, really stuck out to me.
Oh, thank you. It's called I Hope the Night is Quiet.
Yeah, holy shit.
And
okay, yeah.
I pinched it from someone's, she's kind of in a harrowing situation, and she was posting about it on Instagram, and she'd covered her eyes with like a block of text, and it said, I hope the night is quiet. And I was like, oh shit, that's so cool. And I had to write around that. So following This Fresh Hell, I was like, oh, like my Goosebumps and Stephen King loving side, which was always dormant, has just been fully unlocked, and maybe I can percolate another little story here. So the hard thing about it was I had a little kind of fragment of it, about 700 words, and really microfiction, flash fiction. I tried to get that 700 words into a horror pod that narrates flash fiction. Rejected, didn't go anywhere. And you know what? I really love rejection, and the more we can learn to sort of give rejection a big hug, the better, right?
Love that.
So
love it.
The hard part for Castle Horror Media, because I was sitting here and I was kind of like, can I embiggen it? How can I make this a fully fleshed out world, a bigger story? How can I give it more layers of meaning? And that was not easy. I did have to take a lot of baths and kind of ruminate and figure out how I was going to do that. Also to deadline. I'm very fond of deadlines. I'm a former journalist. So that was definitely the hard part. I think the other hard part was working in a revenge angle because I had this idea. It sort of relates to something that is at the core of myself. Like I have a very visceral reaction to one specific thing. I won't state what it is, but if ever asked to explain it again, I'll just be like, pick up this anthology and you will soon know what it is that so very much disturbs me. So there was that sort of finding a way to add vengeance, because that was not necessarily from at the core at the very beginning. And it was hard to sort of make some things up about an agricultural farming town. I am not a farmer. I have always lived in cities, and I would be very happy to be told, like, oh, that's not how we farm. I'd be like, oh, okay.
I lived for it though. I felt like if I was really taken to the outback Australia.
Oh, thank you. Because I love that. I love country Australia. If you go to like agricultural shows here, like the Easter show, I freaking love the farmers, and I love the Country Women's Association. I love the scones. I love the little cakes. It's actually a really scary world. There's so much discipline and rigor in everything they do. Yeah, couldn't be me. And they're tough. And they're very close to life and death and disaster all the time. And it's really dangerous what they do as well. So interesting world.
I never thought of it like that. This is what I love about story. Like it just shows us these parts of the world that like exist around us every day, but we're so like, if it's not in our world, we just don't even think about it,
Yeah. Well, and I think what's so fun now in this anthology, there's people from the States and Australians, and okay, so I love that, because for us in the States, like we don't have enough books that are like based in Australia. Like I loved it. I think my first book that I read was by Tobias Madden, who we had on the show ages ago, and I loved it. Like I was hearing the accent in my head, and I could really hear it, and but I love it because it exposes us to a bigger world and
Very
like
much so, yeah.
and
I
understand
think
like
UK as well
agriculture.
for this anthology. It's pretty broad, and that's a beautiful thing. But I've been dubbing us the Drop Bear invasion because we've got 3 Australians, which is a good number of Australians
I
in the
know. I was
anthology.
thinking that too. I'm so proud. Again, that's thanks to Katya. But like, I'm still so proud that like we've like taken over this US anthology.
Let's do it again. Let's
Yeah.
find more Australians. Eventually, they'll just be Australians. Just be like opening tins of Vegemite, drinking a Milo. That accent, you're going to hear that accent all the time.
Just gonna hear it in my sleep.
You're going to hear it, and it's going to be really scary. And you hear it, and you're just like, g'day.
Now,
G'day.
Angela does
That's a
quite
plot.
a good Australian accent. Do you want to
That's
get
a
your
plot.
Australian accent
Yeah.
out, Angela?
Mine?
Yeah.
What was it? Oh, Rise Blides.
That's good.
And your
Why-
no is quite good too.
Arnar. Arnar.
Arnar.
Incredible. It's like
Thank
listening
you.
to Nicole Kidman.
Yes, yeah. I've been told that often about
Yeah.
myself. Yeah, I've been told that. Yeah.
The
Okay, well,
good thing
Katya,
about
what has
Katya
been
Before-
what's that?
I was just gonna say the good thing about this anthology is that they keep inviting you. So now Melanie and Claire will keep getting invites to the future ones.
Oh,
Good.
yeah, I'm gonna come in hot. I'm gonna be ready.
Good. And I love the different themes that they have too. They honestly sound really fun, and terrifying. So, which I love. I'm here for. Katya, what was the most challenging part in writing your short story?
Yeah, well, my short stories can kind of go one of the 2 ways. Usually one is like I immediately have an idea. The moment I hear the theme, it's fully formed in my head. I know exactly what I want to write, and sometimes I can write it like in a day, the first draft, kind of, that 0 draft when you just like idea. I know you discussed it on the podcast, so your listeners know what 0 draft is.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to think about it, and sometimes I, start different projects and then kind of like it doesn't quite work, come back to it. So this anthology was the latter. Like it took me a bit of time to kind of understand what I wanted to write. I did have this idea for a story for a while because I liked the title that kind of came to me in my head, To Die Like a Pharaoh. And, I do think about it a lot, like, how the world is so divided and some people have everything and most people have very little. And, what do you do with this wealth and how, it corrupts you, like these are the things that kind of define our reality. And I, was examining my own strong feelings of hatred towards people who have the power and choose to use it for evil, evil. And yeah, can you think of a good billionaire? I don't know, I can't. But sorry, yeah, and I was thinking kind of like it coming out of this sort of primordial soup in my head that's constantly brewing there. Yeah, and then I had, and then I had the voice in my head, like, and the first the first idea that I had for this story was the ghosts speak, like the ghosts that have been buried in this tomb by this guy. They speak in like a Greek chorus almost, like they all speak at once. It's we. And yet they kind of still have their individual identities, but they'll come together. So, and I wanted to experiment with this story. So that's the tough part as well. That was really tough to experiment because I wanted to combine the story of these three women who find themselves in this horrible situation, buried alive, basically, and in the tomb, and and the chorus of the ghosts that also dwell in this place. So how do you do that? And I had to like rewrite it several times. Like even the version you would have read in the advanced copy probably have changed a bit because I kept like tweaking it. Like it doesn't quite work. It doesn't quite mesh well, the two voices. But I think I finally figured out how it works. Quite proud of this story. I also submitted a version of this to something else that it was rejected. So, like rejection is just part of the business. Moving on means not like it means very little. If they don't want it, that's it. I already forgot. I don't even know who rejected it or whatever. But yeah, and quite proud of the story, but it was a difficult one to write because of the topic as well. It is quite scary to me personally. And yeah, so combination of that, the horror factor, the scary factor, and how rage kind of can drive you to get yourself out of a bad place.
Yeah. Wow. Was there anything that surprised you, even just in yourself or in your own writing, about these stories in particular? I'll just ask you, Katya, since I'm looking at you.
So, okay, what surprises me, not just about this story, but in general about, the act of writing, the act of creating stories and putting words on page and how you put words on page. And, you're all writers, you're all brilliant writers, your craft. Sometimes it comes easy, like it's almost a supernatural experience. It just pours out of you. Somebody hijacks your conscious and the words that come out, sometimes the sentences that come out of you, you wonder, how did my brain come up with that? And I feel like whenever that happens, like in this story, like if I have a chance to read a quick snippet from it, like I'll read you what I mean, the paragraph that I'm talking about, like sometimes something comes out of you and you can't quite believe that you would come up with that. And I'm not saying it's like, oh my God, the most brilliant paragraph ever written, but just for me, on a personal level, it surprised me that I could do that, that I could do that aspect of craft to tell the story that way. And I just live for these moments that make me so excited about writing.
Yes. I love that you're like so pumped about it and like just proud of yourself. I love, as you should. Like every work is so hard, but sometimes there's some things that we write that we just like, I did that. It's amazing. How about you, Claire? Was there anything that surprised you about this short story?
One thing that definitely surprised me was how much I found myself trying to work in a sense of humor. Like I have a very twisted sense of humor, and I'm sure you find this. It sort of helps with horror because it helps keep the tone a certain way, gives you a breather, it gives you a bit of relief. And like, I'm not trying to write Shaun of the Dead here. I'm not writing horror comedy. But quite often I did really try to incorporate jokes. And I just think it helps. Like let's put more humor into comedy as much as we can.
I
Yeah.
love
I really
that you said
enjoyed
that.
writing like a disgusting little boy character, and I also enjoyed writing like little innuendos that are meant to go over the heads of like the child characters and never do. But yeah, those things I suppose kind of speak to humor and its sort of weird place in horror.
Mm.
Like, oh, I just if it was nothing but horror wall to wall and you were just, having a pants wedding time the whole time,
Yeah.
you need a bit of a reprieve, don't you?
Yeah. Gives you a break, just a little bit of a breath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really love that about your story because I think I probably try to do that too. Even though the themes in mine were so dark, there was like some tongue-in-cheek moments that are like kind of supposed to give some levity to how dark the moment is. And yeah, I definitely felt that in yours. But yes,
Yeah,
moving
for
on to
you,
like,
it's so extreme, right? It's really extreme. And that's why
Yeah.
sometimes I was like, yeah, she wants to tickle me a certain way while also definitely giving me a lot of shock. It's a tickle and a shock.
Can I just say when Melanie shared with me her pitch because she was preparing to pitch it, and I was, what? She tears off what of who and puts them into a cape? What?
Okay, yeah, I was like, whoa, that's different. And it
That
kind of
is
doesn't work
different.
for me because there's a few serial killers who get into the arts and crafts with body
yeah,
parts.
yeah,
Like the Ed
Right.
Gein's, like, I'm gonna wear a face over my face, or I'm gonna make myself a belt. So I was like, yeah,
it
she would.
tracks.
Why
She went
not?
for it. Yep. It tracks.
It feels like the right moment to point out that I'm wearing little penis earrings that I made.
Of course you
I
are.
thought it might be inappropriate, but I was like, just specifically because of what
I
you
love
said,
it.
Claire, it's that. It's like the touch of like humor and almost like it's a bit of irony, So yeah, I really love
Definitely.
that.
Like, it's kind of, yeah, if you're going that far over the top, and
Yeah,
it's definitely over the top,
yeah.
you know, you want me to be like, oh my God.
Yes. Now I
Yeah.
see like our time is down to 7 minutes. Let's make sure we get to like I want to hear the favorite scenes, the favorite sentences from these amazing stories of yours.
Who's ready?
You want to go, Claire, since
Great. I'm sorry that we're
you're
down to
on
7
screen
minutes. I'll try to
before
be
me?
brief. So for me, it's scary if your parent is giving you a reason to begin to fear them.
Mm.
So I'm gonna scroll down so I can read this. I'm so sorry.
No, don't stress. Do you want Katya to go first while you look
I
through?
actually do.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
Katya, you're up. Katya's ready.
I'm ready to go. I'll try not to rush too much, but it's my favorite kind of thing. When I was talking about ghosts speaking as a chorus, as altogether like a Greek choir. So here's what I mean. We may be no one, already ghosts, but we are many, the living and the dead united. When our bones sink, they accuse and they reveal. In the next chamber, there lies the architect. She designed this place and then took her knowledge to the grave. Next to her is the prized chef who cooked this dying pharaoh's meals. Here are his former lovers, no longer desired but kept nonetheless. Here we are, those who served him in life, those whose skills or looks impressed him. Bones upon bones. There is no limit to his greed, his desire, and want. This tomb is a storage, where the collector stores his favorite things, because that is what we are to him, things. A child's toys to be gathered up and placed in a box at the end of the day. But a silent chorus has been building in this tomb from the moment the first stone was laid upon bones. The dead wake up, hearing the prayer of the living. The architect's broken neck moves with a creak. The chef's bullet wounds meant just enough to empower her spirit. We, the ghosts, come to help the living. We fill their limbs with strength, their minds with determination. Now, it's not just three women attempting to move a wall, but many.
Work. Yes, Katya.
Yes,
I love
God,
it.
Katya.
I love it. All right, Claire, let's hear it. I'm loving this. I'm loving this.
Did I tell you about the man with the hook? Mr. Fredrickson? Johann Fredrickson had a face like a glazed donut and owned the largest meat hook in town. He often boasted about this. Sometimes when he bragged, Mrs. Pettit would giggle, which gave me a tiny feeling of awfulness. It told me that grown-ups could be things to each other, things they maybe weren't supposed to be, and that life as we knew it could split wide open if everyone started saying everything they were thinking. Not him, but a different man, my father said. His voice, a sound I had heard since birth, was a bit wrong, like it was him but not him. I pulled my blanket up under my chin and anchored it under me on either side of my body. This man, they say he's looking for children, and that's why you should stay here with your mother and me. My mind conjured up an image, a child my age, trussed up and hanging from a meat hook, among the carcasses of pigs, inside Mr. Bennington's vast meat locker. I was so frightened that the marrow in my bones shifted. Perhaps there had been one, who was to say? There were so many rows of carcasses. There was no way I looked at everything. Why? Why is he looking for children? Revenge. He's out for revenge. He's jealous of everything we have, our wives, our beautiful meats, and he will stop at nothing.
I'm glad I read yours while the lights were on. That's all I'm saying. But it's a
Thank you.
masterpiece. It's such a masterpiece. They both are.
Oh,
Honestly.
thank you. I
Oh my
really loved
gosh.
writing it. It's so much fun doing horror, right? Melanie, you
Mhm.
touched on not having considered this as a genre, but I feel like it suits you.
Thank you.
It suits
And
me
I'm
so
having a lot
well.
of fun with it. I think, to be honest, I had thought of it as quite a different thing, but actually delving into it and finding my own ground of horror has been like quite amazing. And I think I'm definitely going to continue to write it. Like, I do love writing it. And in a lot of ways, it's kind of just like an extension of dark fantasy, I realize. It's like kind of the scenes that were quite shocking, but that's the story.
Yep, I'm here for it. I can see it. I see it in your eyes, Melanie. I think this is another anthology in the future. I can see it from all three of you. Many more awards in the future, and books and all the amazing things. I see we're down to the last 2 minutes.
It went
Real
so
fast. You guys
fast.
it went way too fast. Do you guys want to let our listeners know where they can find you? Claire, where can we find you?
You guys can head to my website, which is clairelow.com. There's another Claire Low. Don't listen to her. Except no
I'll put your
imitators.
links. I'll put your links in the episode notes.
Thank you. Yes. And Instagram at Claire Low _ Once again, not the other Claire Low. She's like the Neil Gaiman other mother, the button eyes. Don't listen to her.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And of course, this fresh hell is out now through Clan Destine Press. And I'd recommend picking up a copy maybe from Galaxy Bookshop, which is where we did the Sydney launch. And if you're interested in my art, it is on my website. I'm in the North Sydney Art Prize and Reimagine.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Katya, where can our listeners find you?
Well, all my social media handles are the same, just Katya de Becerra. So is my website, primarily on Instagram, if people want to reach out and chat to me about books or whatever. My next book is coming out later this year. It's called They Watch From Below. And it's my take on kind of like dark academia, but it's going to be, my way of doing dark academia. So
I'm
curious
pumped. The cover looks amazing. It's going to cut us off in any second. This went way too fast. I'm so thrilled for all of you and to read all of the works in this anthology. Congratulations, you guys.
Thank you for having us. This was
you.
wonderful.
Thank you so much.
It was so fun.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Melanie. Congratulations, everyone.
Yeah, congratulations.
Hashtag drop bear takeover.
Drop bear takeover.